Happy 4th of July. Billy C. here, and this is our weekly YouTube report. I survived the beer, the hot dogs, all the other food I ate. Didn't blow my hands off. I hope you guys are all safe. But the bottom line is, big news in boxing this week. The United States finally got a heavyweight that won a fight. And I'm talking about Fast Eddie Chambers beat Alexander Demetrico this past weekend, yesterday as a matter of fact, in Germany. Impressive win. That's all I can say. He showed, first of all, what I admire about him, and a lot of my colleagues like Marty Mulcahy, who I've been talking to about this in depth. We both agree that here's a guy that righted his ship. He was criticized for not letting his hands go in some previous fights when he did have some opportunity. This time he did let his hands go. Another thing, like Mark Abrams had told us on the show earlier in the week, that he trained real good for this. He was down to 208 pounds, 208 point something, so less than 209 pounds. In his last fight prior to Saturday, he was 223. He was in good shape. I personally did not think that he would overcome the size difference. Demetrico's 6'7", 254 pounds, but Eddie Chambers prevailed. So now he earns a shot at the Klitschko's. So we'll see what happens with that. All I could say is this. Demetrico, he's being knocked for not utilizing his size, and he kind of fought the fight. But you know what? We got to give Eddie Chambers credit. This is a guy that righted the ship and went into Germany and won. So hats off to him. That was a great 4th of July gift for all of us United States people. One thing I just want to point out about this is one judge had it 116, 111. Another had it 117, 109. Those are German judges. And the third German judge, like German judge fashion, scored the fight a draw at 113, 113, which would have been a sin. Because if you watch the fight, you would see that Eddie Chambers pretty much dominated this fight using his superior hand speed. He got underneath the jab, just like Marty Mulcahy and his crystal ball said. So, again, congratulations to Eddie Chambers. We got a busy week coming up in boxing. A couple of good fights that I wanted to talk about. First of all, the one that we're going to see on ESPN2, Matt Godfrey against Sean Hawk. As much as this fight looks even on paper, Matt Godfrey has fought the much tougher opposition, and I think that he's going to prevail. On the undercard of that show, we're going to see Boy George. That's right. I keep making a mistake. It's not Boy George. It's Sean George. And what I think is going to be the toughest fight of his career when he takes on Chris Henry. And Henry's a tough fighter. So we're going to have we're going to have two pretty good fights on ESPN Friday Night Fights this weekend. So make sure you tune in for that. But the big fight that's happening is King Kong Abeko, Joseph King Kong Abeko against Vic the Raging Bull Darchinian. These are two... Well, listen, anytime you're dealing with a guy that's less than 130 pounds, 126 pounds, 122 pounds, in King Kong Abeko, you got a name like King Kong and you're that small of a man, you know that he's no joke. These two guys have been bantering back and forth. Abeko pretty much said, he's been shooting off his mouth a lot, Vic Darchinian. And Vic Darchinian came out with a pretty good one. He says that after the fight, they're going to be talking and calling Joseph Chimpanzee Abeko. So I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be a good one. Two little guys that hit like big guys, man. Make sure you tune into that one. I believe it's on Showtime. Just some other news I wanted to get into real quick. It looks like Floyd Mayweather Jr., it's been reported that he owes $6 million to the IRS. His camp is denying it. But it's the same thing that happens with all these fighters. They get into making all this big money. They retire from the ring, and they stop spending the big money. They don't stop with entourages following them around and all of that stuff. And it doesn't take long to go through the money. And, old Uncle Sam, we just celebrated 4th of July. But you know what? When they latch on to you, man, they're ruthless. I can't stand what they do to these fighters, but in this particular case, if he owes that much money, pay the taxes. His camp saying that it's false, But then again, so is Evander Holyfield saying that he doesn't owe the mortgage company. And as far as I know, scheduled for Tuesday is the auctioning of his house. So maybe we'll get to see more Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Evander Holyfield both looking like they're in shock as they get taken away here. Floyd with the IRS problems, and Evander Holyfield with his, his 17 bathroom house in Georgia. So that's what we got. Looking forward to that. One other thing I wanted to mention is the move to pardon the late great Jack Johnson won a House vote, verbal House vote. So now it's in the hands of the Senate, and we hope that that gets passed, because it was a travesty of what happened to Jack Johnson. They drum up the Mann Act, and really this guy, it's long overdue that he gets the credit. One of the best heavyweights that ever put on a pair of boxing gloves, Jack Johnson. So I hope that gets taken care of. A couple of things I wanted to mention real quick. We want to welcome Youngstown, Ohio. They just joined our radio affiliates. They will start taking the show tomorrow, Monday, July 6th. So congratulations to them. From what I understand, they got some fans calling in saying they wanted to hear the show. The same fans that won't pay the $15 for the subscription. But you know what? I don't care. I'm glad that we're going to be on a radio station in Youngstown, Ohio. From what I understand, I believe, don't hold me to it, but I believe it's 1570 AM. Used to be called the Classic Hits. It went to an all-sports station, and Talking Boxing with Billy C is going to be on there Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. So if you're in the Youngstown area, make sure you tune in for that. The other thing I wanted to mention is you got to go up on the website, www.talkinboxing.com, TALKINboxing.com. Download this week's newsletter. Elkie Vivona did a great job on the Sam Langford tribute that they did at our little gathering that we had up at the International Boxing Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago. She wrote a nice piece, and thanks to Clay Moyle, the author of the Sam Langford book, we got to not only meet the great-granddaughter of Sam Langford, Carol Doyle, but she chose to have the presentation from the Australian Boxing Hall of Fame to be done at our gathering. So Elkie wrote a nice little piece about that, so check that out, read it, download it, do whatever you want with that. And finally, one last thing. If you've ever wondered what it was like to listen to boxing on the radio the way they used to for Joe Louis and all the greats back in the day, before television, before cable, before internet, before all that happy stuff, we got a podcast of a show that John Robbins and myself did up in Brantford, Ontario, at the Brantford Civic Center. It was a piece of Canadian boxing history when the Ontario Boxing Council was newly formed to award young fighters title belts, and we had the luxury of calling that show. The first two belts in the history of the OBC were awarded that night. 6 great fights, and I'm not BSing you here. I was very impressed with this card. If you want to see what it's like to listen to a show, go up to the podcast. You can get it easily at podbean.com. Search Talkin' Boxing, and it's under Brantford on May 30th. It's dated. Check it out. It's a fun thing to listen to. If you don't like listening to just the audio, we will have the video up in another week, so check that out. Other than that, make sure you tune into the radio show. We are live Monday through Friday at the website, www.talkinboxing.com, TALKINboxing.com, or we're on tpsradio.net, or you can listen to a radio station near you. If we're not on a radio station near you, do like they did in Youngstown, Ohio, where they demanded to have it. Other than that, we'll talk to you next week. Ciao.